Stopping on the right of the picture here, there's been a fall at Iban Mayo. Iban Mayo is down, and it looks as though his team spotted that, whatever happened, because they've all waited for him very, very quickly. They must have seen him go down. It looks like a Predictor Lotto rider also didn't catch his number. Couldn't see his face, but he'll be up and running. It's just a little fall in the centre of the peloton. Sonia Duval all on hand here to make sure things are good. Well, that tells us something, doesn't it? It tells us that Mayo is their protected rider, and they're going to look for him in the mountains this year, because we do think he is actually riding like his old self. He's on the team of Sonia Duval this time. And we're back with the leaders again now, up here at the front of the peloton. Meanwhile, at the back, they'll get themselves together. It's going to be a little bit of a chase because the peloton is racing here. And as you come back, well, this isn't looking good, because this has just happened. Is that Kloden lying down there? It could be Alexander Andreas will wait. I'm pretty sure that was Kloden down there. Let's have a look. Here's how it happened as we come right up on it. Slow motion. It's Fofanot, I think, who's gone down. It is Kloden as well. That is definitely Kloden on the floor. As we see there, Daniel Navarro roll over, and I'm afraid that is Kloden, and not looking at all well. Daniel Navarro is the bike that was picked up. Andries Kloden is the man there getting on his bike now. Well, you never know, do you? They're wearing yellow numbers because they are the leading team in the race, have been since Saturday in the prologue, where they scored the highest best cumulative of 3 riders. Now, that's the first time we've seen Kloden since last Saturday, and we've seen him on the floor. Here he is here, trying to get back. Always a surprise, always unpleasant, Paul. We're now seeing Andries Kloden for the first time since he finished second in the prologue last Saturday.
Well, I suppose it's our fault, Phil, because we've said that none of the
crash. We've cut right back here to the behind the peloton. And boy, this is Geoffrey Lecatre. He's had a rather nasty fall here. A very heavy one. His shorts are almost disintegrating. And you know, we've just left the feed here, and well, here's a retake of it here. He was right at the front, but just to the right there, see that bag lying in the road? I'm sure that's a feeding musette, and this is a result of snatching the bags on the run. Somebody's, if not his, and it's not his, I don't think, it's the wrong colour, has gone in his wheel, is my suggestion. There's the culprit, and brought him off. Well, that's a shame. He's in his 4th season as a professional. He's never won a race, and this was his first shot at the Tour de France. They're just checking to see if his arm's okay there at the moment, and it doesn't look too there at the finish, as we try to find out what's going on. There's a drink from his team car. It doesn't look as though he's in any serious bother, but how on earth did he get in this position, unless he just came back to get a drink? I cannot believe he's in problem. If he's been dropped from the peloton at this point, then he's ill. There's no other reason for it. He hasn't fallen off all tour yet. But, you know, we do get riders in trouble. That's Sven Kraus up front, and there's a problem for the Lamprey boys on the right, or Milgram, I think it is. Quick change there. Is it Zabel who's had a quick change? Yes, it is. So that's Eric Zabel, had a flat tyre, the sprinter, and who can also climb. That'll be a strong piece of help for Sastre to get back up to the lead. This is Vinokurov, and this has just happened on the left of the road. Vinokurov here, the rider with him, and he doesn't look too happy at all, is his strong teammate Colum. Now, we don't know how that happened. There's a slow motion for you. He hasn't really told us a lot. That's Colum, and it looks as though Vinokurov has either winded himself or hurt himself here. And another teammate coming back to help them as well. Well, this has not been the day for Astana. They're about 26 kilometres, 25 and a half to go. That has happened. And the man who is the people's favourite to win this race is not looking happy there. And the number 2 man, Kloden, Andries Kloden, has also been down.
This is going to be a massive team time trial for these riders.
The only man not there will be Andries Kloden. They've left him in the peloton as a reserve. The whole team's been sent back, other than Kloden, to bring this man back to the race.
Well, there are 6 riders there who have dropped back for Alexander Vinokurov. Rather interesting to note, Phil, that when Andries Kloden had his problem, only 1 rider dropped back to help him. I think we know who is the boss of this squad.
Well, you're absolutely right. And now
and maybe he wants to try and get his team another stage victory on this descent.
Well, this is when you take your hat off also. Oh, my goodness me, that was a wide one. I was about to say, this is when you take your hat off to our television camera guy on this motorbike. I wouldn't have that job for the world right now. 5 kilometres or 3 miles to go to the finish. There it is. And look at these riders now taking all the risk to hold clear.
You have to, but let's not forget, at 4 kilometres to go, there's a series of 3 very nasty hairpin bends. For the moment, everybody appears to be upright still. Yellow jersey on the front, Fabian Cancellara is riding the race of his life here. I thought the race of his life was on the road into Compiègne, but this, keeping his yellow jersey on a more small mountain stage like today, is phenomenal.
Now I know it's Popovic. When he freewheels down like that, that sets him up. But you know what, Paul? Again, Cancellara is using this incredible strength, and he might well join this rider here. Look at him, he's running away with it.
Well, he's creating gaps there.
Oh, he's wide, he's wide. He was terribly wide. I could see him going all wrong. He did well to hold that, and they're all together at the front.
All together again. Just watch this as he comes round this corner. These riders, you have to take risks if you want to win, but all of a sudden you don't know what the corner is going to be like. He's gone straight off the road there. Cancellara chasing him like a bullet, keeps it upright, doesn't fall down, and is straight back onto the road.
To the finish here, he may have gone too soon. Bouygues Telecom have replaced Laurent Lefebvre at the front, and I can't see this rider's face at the moment in the darkness of the pictures. The field are coming up behind. If this is Miller, and it looks like him, he has got to wait just a little bit because he's too far from the line.
Well, the sprinters now have got to get their men on the front and get this organised, but Miller has now gone around that corner. Vinokourov, we keep going back to see where he is. He's around about 50 seconds in a ring, 400 metres to go.
And Eric Zabel has put himself in a brilliant position. Centre picture and dodging, and Freda's on his shoulder. This is a battle of the sprinters now. Zabel is out of it. Freda isn't as he races up to the line. Eric Freda, Hincap is going after them. And also there is Napolitano, but the man who has won on the line, I think, is Fischer. Pozzato. Filippo Pozzato has taken it. Well, he was on the lips of a lot of people this morning, but he produced one incredible finish to win that.
Well, what a race that has been this afternoon. Let's have a look at the finish line here from the air. Now look at Pozzato there on the left-hand side in the lime green jersey, waiting for it all to open. Zabel had it right, Freire had it right, but right through the middle, Pippo Pozzato said at the start of the day here, Phil, I'm going for this. This is my stage. It's not very often a rider can pick a stage, predict that he's going to win, and come up with the victory. Oscar Freire right up there as well, but here is the arrival of Alexander Vinokourov's group with Tom Boonen.
Well, what's the time? This is a loss of time, I'm afraid, for the #1 favourite, the first big favourite to concede today. But he's ridden brilliantly to lose just less than a minute. He's still a little way to go. In fact, he probably will lose more than a minute here as he tries now himself to fight all the way to the line. The minute's gone by. He's left himself a handicap for the remaining 2 weeks and a bit of the Tour de France. Vinokourov will have to fight his way through the Alps now and get his own back when he can, because he's had a rather unlucky ending to the day here. As he comes up to the line, he brings the peloton home, 1 minute and 20 seconds or so.
That is a huge amount of time to lose on a day when you were expecting to finish in the main field. So Alexander Vinokourov, first of all, we have to figure out, Phil, whether he's seriously injured and if he can carry on. But look at that coming up through the middle. There is the big lunch of the line. There are the golden locks of Pippo Pozzato. He said before the start of today's stage, this is going to be my victory. Well, he was right.
He was very much right. The speed of the sprint was just short of 50 miles an hour or 78 kilometers an hour. That is amazing. For nearly 50-mile-an-hour sprint, and it was slightly uphill, by the way, too. But Pozzato gets it, and second looks like it was Freire. But we'll just wait. I think that's Berghout on the right-hand side there. As we take a look here, that's where Pozzato is in the sprint, and a long way back. But because it was an uphill finish, and he followed the wheel of George Hincapie, it looks to me, from up here, as he then decided to change direction and nip through the traffic in his own route. And he got up behind Zabel, and then he got behind Jeslan, and then he went over the top of them at full speed ahead. Napolitano taking him on, and also Oscar Freire on the far right, and it was in fact Freire second, Napolitano will be third on the line it will be. And I'm just still trying to make out and confirm that rider from T-Mobile, but I think it was possibly Kim Kirken, but it'll all come out in the wash. What a great finish. What a great Tour de France it is at the end of the moment so far. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back with all of the information. It was Kirken who finished fourth.